Hi, I just want to show you or give you some tips on how to make a screen. It seems a bit odd to be showing you how to use a drawing package for CNC related stuff, but this should at least give you some pointers on how to make a screen for Mac to suit yourself, or you can just use the basic controls that are in the Mac Screen Designer, and I'll talk about those controls later on in the video. I use a package called RealDraw Pro. It's cheap. I think it's about 55 bucks. You can download a free fully working trial for 30 days, so you can test that out. It's easy to use. It's a fraction of the cost of Photoshop, and I reckon it probably does 80% of what Photoshop does. In fact, it does things that Photoshop can't do, and it does it a lot easier as well. So what we'll do is we'll just make a very simple screen here, a very small screen, because I'm trying to capture only a small area, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, let's start off with the background, for instance. Before I do start, I actually like to make one big bitmap for the picture and then put invisible buttons over that. The reason is, with the screen design, if you have lots of small bitmaps and try and put them over each other, you can get some problems with the order that they display. And on top of that, you can also get irregular shaped buttons if you ever need to, without displaying an ugly black square over the top. So this is one method, and I'll just show you this method anyway. Okay. Well, let's make a background for starters. So we'll select the square tool and we'll just drag a square. Now it's red. Let's select one of the textures. These are pre-done textures in here. I think, well, we'll just go for timber for starters. And there we go. We've got a timber square. Now you can also, the bevel on this, you just click it. Bevel, you can pick any of these pre-selected ones. You notice that the bevel is now a bit smaller. You can do any sort of bevel you want, or you can go to the bevel tools and select from these, and let's just change one, smooth bevel, and then you can also adjust how smooth and different things like that. Okay, well, we'll just accept anything. Let's put in 3 draws. Instead of making 3 individual draws, we'll just make one, and I'll show you how to then copy and make the rest. So we'll select a round rectangle corner, and I'll pull along, and as I'm pulling along, you'll notice how it's rounded on the edges. If I haven't let go of my mouse button yet, I can use my up and down arrow keys to adjust the roundness, but we'll just pick something like that, and that's an area that we can place a draw. Now obviously that doesn't look like a cutout or inset into that timber panel, but we can easily do that. We'll just select it again, and we'll go across to colors. Let's make it black. Now it's starting to look a bit cut out, but it hasn't got any shadowing around the edges, so select it. We go across to effects, and we'll go to inset and shadow. Now all of a sudden it does look like it's actually cut into that timber. You'll notice a bit of shadow along this edge here and up here. You can actually adjust where you want the shadows with some of these tools along here. Let's just select edit lights and enable lights. Actually, no, let's not worry about that. Didn't work. Okay. Right, let's put in, we just want to have a look at what it's going to look like. So I often just put in some fake digits, just to sort of get an idea. So I'll put in 0.000. I've selected the one Mac LED font, which is a font that I've adapted for this display. and then we'll just push OK. Now you'll notice it hasn't appeared because it's actually black itself. So we'll make it electronic blue, and we'll sort of upsize it a bit to get what we want. Okay, now if we want to give a glass effect, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I happen to like it, so I'll show you anyway. We will just make a round rectangle about the half the size of what we've already got. Well, it doesn't really matter. Drag it to the top. Now you notice that's black. Let's make it white, but we can't see anything underneath it. So let's pick the transparency tool, which is one of these. Let me just, because I've minimized the screen, everything's gone small. So we'll pick that. We want it flat, universal, so we'll just drag it across. I find about 2/3 the way along is a good setting. Now you'll notice all of a sudden you can see the digits through it. You can still move it around, and that's sort of part of the glass effect. I can make that a little bit wider if I need to. And on top of that, I can then put a sparkle, which these small little things can create, just help to create an illusion that people don't know. Now obviously we don't want to save this, what we've just done here. We can do that separately, so we can drop that into our drawers in the screen designer itself. Okay, so that's pretty basic, how to do a cutout into whatever material. You know, if you don't like that material, let's go to library and we'll make it gold. It's as quick as that and as easy as that. You don't have to accept all of these pre-done settings. You can actually adjust them with all these other features in here, but if I showed you everything it would take too long. If I give you some basic pointers, you can then fiddle around from there. Okay, so we've got one draw. Now what we can do is we can highlight over the top, right click, create a package. Now you'll notice wherever I pull it, it goes. Now if I want to copy that, I can either right click, copy, and then paste. It's pasted directly over the top. Now I can just go like that. We've got two. Now I want to align them, so we can just align down here, and there you go, we've got two. The other way of copying is you just grab one, drag it off the screen, drag it on the screen, and there it is again. We'll align all those again as well. Okay, and the spacing is a bit out there, so I'll just shift it with the arrow keys a bit, and there you go, we got three draws for a normal 3-axis router. Now let's give these draws some names. So we'll hold down the shift key to make a perfect circle, or if you don't hold it down it'll make like a football shape, but we'll just hold it down, and there we go. Actually I must have released the key beforehand. Alright, well that's good enough. Now again we can make that so it's like it's inset. So we'll inset it, we go to effects, we go to inset and shadow. I use that tool a heap, and it looks like it's inset into the gold, but the good thing is you can drag it and wherever you go it still looks inset. Now we'll give it a label, so we might pick another font for the label. We'll go for Arial Black and we'll call it X, and push OK. It's a bit small, just drag it to the size you like. Now I'll just make it a gold X. Ooh, that was quick, that was easy, wasn't it? Now it doesn't look very glossy or like it's you know, one unit really. So what we'll do, we will highlighted, create package. Now you notice it's all one unit now. But if you ever want to edit that one unit, just double click very fast and they're all individual items. What we'll now do is to give it a bit of gloss. We'll just select an arrow, but this time we won't push the shift key, and we'll just drag to the side roughly. You can muck around editing this stuff forever, but we'll just do this quickly. We'll make it white again. Now where are these jolly colours? Okay, there's white. We'll go for the transparency, which is here, maybe there. I'm not going to fuss too much. And all of a sudden it's just giving that illusion again of being glassy. Now because I put that inset with shadow, it sort of doesn't look quite round. I can adjust that a bit. I'll just select that, and you'll notice these adjusters. I'll pick the inset with shadow option, and we might just fart around with this a little bit. Okay, and it's still not round enough for my liking, but I'm compulsive, I'm sorry. Anyway, we've got it roughly, and so we push OK, and there you go. It's looking a bit more glassy, but definitely could be fixed up a bit more. Now we'll just copy that best method, drag it off the screen, drag it on the screen, drag it off the screen, drag it on the screen. Okay, we will align, and right, obviously we want to change all those. They're all now packages. We want to make that green, and we want to make it Y, so we just click Y. Okay, and look how quick is that. And just for the sake of the exercise, we'll make this blue. I'll try that blue, and we'll make that Z, capital Z. Okay, and then OK. Now look how quick that was. If you were to do that in any other drawing package, that would take you hours. Alright, now similarly for buttons, I'll go for a round rectangle again. We'll say here's a round rectangle, and we'll pick one of the library designs. We might go for that. Yeah, look, that might be alright. Now you'll notice the shadows around it, the bevels, again that can all be adjusted in these with these settings or manually over here. Same with the shadows. Let's make it less of a bevel. Well, I've got to select it first. Less of a bevel. Let's adjust the shadow so it's not as much, and you'll notice all those things are adjusting. You can also drag to resize it at any time, which is very handy. Now we might just give this a label. I'll just type anywhere here, and we'll type in B. You can see I'm a fantastic typer. Okay, button, and we'll put that on top like that. Now, to give this button like it's actually pushing into this gold frame, we might copy it, paste it. Well, hang on a sec. Control Z, copy, select, copy, paste. Okay, that's gone over the top. Now we'll have to send it back a few levels, so we're going to send it back 1, 2. Now that's behind those two other objects I've got on the screen. What we'll do is we'll make it a little bit bigger, and we will make it, we'll actually make it a black color. Over here, black. Right, sorry, black. Right, and then we will, you can jog it with the up and down mouse button arrow keys, And there you go, we've sort of got a button here. Again, you can fiddle around for ages just tweaking it all, but for this exercise we'll just make it simple. So we've got a button. Again, highlight the whole lot, create package, here we go, and copy, drag off, drag on, drag off, drag on, and align all the same. And you might have to, with the arrow keys, just move them around. Now I've just shown you some very simple methods, and they're not limiting because there is a heap of options that you can do. Something else that I've seen comments about people don't like, but I think subtleties make all the difference to the appearance of something. You can make little studs for the panel. I mean, you know, it's just mucking around, I know. Okay, and then we'll just pick library, and I happen to like that one. Looks like a stud. You notice it's got shadow, and again we need 4 of them. Drag on, drag off, drag on, somewhere down there, drag off, drag on, and drag off, drag on, and then you can just place them exactly where you want them afterwards. Now we'll just quickly show you how to export this, because there's a few options. So we'll just go to File, Bitmap Export, and you've got different types of formats here. The best one is probably a JPEG format. You could use a transparent PNG, but in this case you wouldn't really need to. And there's other options, but I can't explain today what you may need them for. We'll go for JPEG format. Oh, before I do that, I might just get rid of these reflections, and I'll tell you why shortly. I'll just say cancel, and we'll just delete. I should have done this before I did the mass copying, but anyway. Okay. We might just copy that. Copy it, and then delete it, then push OK. Alright, now we'll bitmap export that. Bitmap export. JPEG quality, yeah, 50% is pretty good still, and you'll notice you'll get to see the file size, 16 kilobytes. If I go up to 100%, there's not a big improvement, but it's now 85. So I reckon 50% is pretty much acceptable for what you want to do. You can use a sharpen output, and that does change things a bit there, but I like to pretty much use what I've designed in. Okay, so we'll export that and we'll save it as screen, SCREEN, and I save everything to the desktop, and it's very cluttered as a result, so save. Okay, the next part of the video, I will now import that into the Screen Designer and show you what to do from there. Thank you.